Hello and welcome to the writing track here at ConTinual. I'm your host, Gail C. Martin, and tonight we are talking about demons galore. So before we get hot and heavy talking about demons and start to have a hell of a good time, I'm going to have my wonderful panelists talk about who they are and what kind of demonic stuff they write, starting with Rachel.
I'm Rachel A. Brune, and I write speculative fiction, mostly on the darker side. I also write romantic suspense and paranormal romantic suspense under the pen name Becca A. Miles. I also enjoy reading about demons, and especially in the field of romantic suspense. So yeah, that's about me.
Okay, Gini.
I'm Gini Koch. I write the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series for dog books, which is part of Penguin Random House. And I also write under a variety of other pen names, including Anita Ensall, Gemma Chase, A.E. Stanton, G.J. Koch, and J.C. Koch. And as J.C. Koch, I write horror, and I write a lot of demons in there. And in my Necropolis Enforcement Files series, I write about demons. I'm sorry, my phone just got yanked. There's a puppy in the house, and he is really interested in chords. So, so that's me. And let me calm the little demonic beast I've got here.
JD.
Yeah, hi, I'm JD Blackrose. I write humorous fantasy, urban fantasy, a little bit of romance, a little bit of everything. My current series that I'm working on right now is a new series for Bellbridge Books that is, well, the first one actually really highlights a demon. I'm not even sure I'm allowed to say the title yet, but the word demon's in the title. So we'll go there.
Okay, Meghan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Meghan Maslow, and I write MM Fantasy Romance, MM Urban Fantasy Romance, MM Paranormal Romance. And I like to say that this is the year of the demon for me, which was completely unplanned. 3 different series. They all have demons in them. Everything from Must Love Demons, which is my cinnamon roll of a demon, to my the Demons in the Details, where my demon is a murder twink, to a to my Starfig Investigation series, where Bill is the sidekick, but he is sort of the fan favorite, and he's a red fury who is the fiercest creature in the realm, but he is also a vegetarian and always wears a bow tie. So lots of demons in my world these days.
I'm Gail C. Martin, and Morgan Brice. As Gail, I write epic fantasy, urban fantasy, and more. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance. My demons tend to be the bad guys, at least so far. You know, that can always change if the right guy shows up, but so far they've been the big bads. So that's probably where I want to start. Show of hands, who writes bad demons or scary demons or evil demons? Okay. You've got the cinnamon roll of a demon. Who writes sexy, lovable demons? Okay. Well, what is it about demons that captured your attention? Rachel?
I think the fact that they're just like a kind of a pure force. And I'm speaking more of like the evil demons in this point. They have agency and they use that purely for evil. And I'm not saying like that is super, wonderful, like we should go out and befriend all of the demons we can. But I do think that both as a writer and as a reader, that can be really fun to explore the unrepentant antagonist. And so I think demons can really be very entertaining to, like I said, both write and read.
Okay. Gini?
Kind of what Rachel said. I like them in various things. In my Necropolis Enforcement Files series, I have good demons and bad demons. It depends on which side of the great fight of good and evil they have chosen, because they get the choice. So they're hell demons and altar demons. And in my Alien series, the first big bad is really essentially a demon. And he's just a much more powerful alien, but how he looks and everything else. And he's just a really fascinating character, and he gets killed off, but I have the ability to keep bringing him back in various things. And he's gone from being Kitty's main antagonist to someone he loves her. She is, he's proud of her, and he is proud of the good things she's doing. He's proud of, you know, her ability to save the day, and she's kind of changed him in death. He's become a better creature because of her. So I think I like the fact that you can redeem. I like the fact that you can have good ones and bad ones, and so forth. And here's the good one. This is what's been this is Tigger. He is a little demon, but he's a good one. So I just think it's fun. I think it gives you all these additional fun characters you can play with.
Okay. Stephanie, welcome.
Hi, guys.
Everybody, please, what you write and who you are. And then the question is, what appeals to you about demons?
Hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Burke. I'm also known as Flash. I'm a USA Today bestselling author of over 100 books at this point. And I write everything from romance, erotica, sci-fi, hard sci-fi, horror. If there's going to be a check in it at the end of the day, I will write it, or at least give it my best shot. I apologize for being late. I got a little injection yesterday and it kind of knocked me out, kind of slept through my alarm. So what we like about demons, they are the ultimate immortal bad boys. That demon has been through some stuff. He's seen even more stuff, and he's learned and experienced a whole lot of stuff, which is going to do great for you if you get on his good side, and really bad for any of your enemies, because if he's a demon, you can convince him to follow, you know, your path of revenge. I mean, there's also the ability to feel all powerful by changing that really bad of the baddest boys into something that's awesome, good, and everybody wants. You're basically turning evil into a sex symbol in some cases, or evil into the ultimate power that works for you. And that power and that choice, I mean, because when you're dealing with demons, let's face it, you have a plethora of examples to follow, not just the stuff that's in your mind. So you can basically invent a demon for just about any and every circumstance. So if you want that erotica, you can have that sexy demon, that incubus or that succubus that'll come in there and, you know, do your characters up right. Or you can have that wizard that you can change into a familiar who just enhances that power you already have. You can do it in tech. I've read some books that were, we would be considered cyberpunk, where they actually got a demon and put the demon inside their backpack they were using to harness their energy, and they sucked up some of those demon powers. So the world is your oyster with demons. They give you so much choice.
Cool. JD?
Well, first, I feel like I need to take notes from Stephanie. Like, oh, right, cyberpunk demon. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I think that everyone's getting to the same point, which is that demon means almost anything. You can take that wherever you wish. And we've seen the evilest of evil demons, all the way to like Lucifer on television, who is like the misunderstood demon. He's not evil, he punishes evil, right? So I think we get to a point where, as authors, we're looking for that antagonist to the protagonist. We're looking for that negative energy to the positive, or we're looking for someone to just be a foil and bring out our main characters' like deepest, darkest secrets and desires. And you know, demons are great for that. And I bouncing off again of what Stephanie said about you can look almost anywhere to see an example. There is so much written, like actual mythology, biblical mythology, to modern time books that look at demons in all these different ways. And for some reason, they just never get old, you know, or whatever, or maybe I should say they never age. But they, you know, they're just this blank slate to create an antagonist or protagonist out of, where people have enough preconceptions about what that is and what that means that you can either play with it or turn it on its head. And I think that's one of the reasons why readers like them so much as well, and why they're everywhere, and romance as well as horror, as well as fantasy, as well as comedy, even in television and things like that.
Okay. Meghan?
I'm one of those, turn it on their head people. I love to take images and mess with them. And I like having the most powerful creature in a realm who also happens to be very sensitive, and he'll cry easily when, a puppy's hurt or something. At the same time, he won't think twice about taking out someone who's a danger to he or his friend. Like having, a demon that is really cute and he should be the least harmful person in the room, but is by far the most dangerous person there, or creature there. I like having a demon. In the case of Maslow demons, he's a cinnamon roll. He's an incubus, but unfortunately his powers got messed up, and he doesn't do lust. He does happily ever afters. He keeps making people fall in love, and so he's very unpopular with his group, because he can't get thrown out of the sex clubs because people keep falling in love and getting married. I like to mess with that. But the big thing is that demons tend to be very powerful creatures. And so whether they're sensitive, whether they're sweet, whether they're mean, when they walk into a room, they make stuff happen. And in my books, I like stuff to happen. I'm an external plot person. So you send a demon into a room, and I don't care what it's about. If he's having coffee with someone in a coffee shop, something is going to go wrong.
Conflict.
Exactly. There's gonna be something.
And so far, mine have all been the bad guy, but they've been a very appealing bad guy because they have the power. They aren't easy to overcome. And like Stephanie said, you can do pretty much everything with them. So you have a lot of latitude. There are so many different traditions that you can draw from that all have a little bit of a different take from the mythology and the legends about how their demons work. And so mixing it up a little bit and stepping away from some of the conventions of demons that people are used to thinking, and going to some other cultures and going, oh, wait, that's really good. I used I'm probably mangling the pronunciation, but it was a Sukoyant, which was a Caribbean demon from Barbados legend and lore, in one of the Deadly Curiosities books. And that was really fun because it had different attributes than your, biblical demon. So it was kind of fun to mix that up. Now, what have been some of your favorite depictions of demons in TV or movies or books, your own or somebody else's? Gini?
Sorry, I'm having a coughing fit, pardon me. Well, I love Lucifer. So, I guess we'll start there. He's not really a demon, he's a fallen angel. So, but Mazikeen is a demon in that show, and I love her. Milo loves her too, as the dogs are barking in the distance. So as I think about it, really, I love Mazikeen. I love the other demons. I love how she is conflicted with finding friends and finding love. The longer she's on Earth, the more human she becomes. And I think that's one of the interesting things that we can do with demons, is that human interaction reflects back and forth. Sorry. I think that makes it interesting and keeps those characters very, very fresh. And when you watch what Maze goes through in the show, she has the biggest journey of any of the characters, and it makes her really, really interesting. So I think that's one of the best ones. So that's my favorite, Lucifer with Mazikeen.
Cool. Stephanie?
I have two. The first one is Nightcrawler from the X-Men series. Nightcrawler is a demon because his daddy is a demon. But is he a shy, retiring, let me run and hide, run from the Bible demon? No, he's actually had relations with every female member of the original X-Men team. He's unapologetic about it. He's happy. He likes to go around and show his talent and his skill. He has such a sense of humor about him. He is like the rich boy that doesn't act like the rich boy you want to hate. He's like the rich guy who will like give your shirt off your back while still laughing. And if it's a woman he likes, even after he has a relationship with them, they still remain friends. I'm like, how do you do this? So he was an outgoing, very human demon. And the worse people treated him, the more his humanity was reflected in him, even when he got too much and retaliated. And my second favorite, I'm going to have to say Dogma. I love that movie because that was the movie that took a lot of religious dogma, Christianity, flipped it upside down, shook it, tossed it around, and then laughed in its face when it popped out of that jar. The demons, you have, well, they follow the Christian doctrine. When an angel falls, they become a demon. So you have these very, very intelligent demons who's working out a way to try to get himself back home. But he's also a case of just about every little pop quiz, future little talent thing, and every little slang object, things that happen, everything, the lexicon, he is just mired in American culture. And it is so funny to think about these biblical creatures who are getting around on skateboards because nobody pays attention to the kids on the skateboards, you know, or the rollerblades carrying the hockey sticks. They're demons that reason. They want to go home. So they're going to end all of creation just to go home. Why? Because humanity is so horrible. They don't even have to try to get souls anymore. They just sit back and let it happen. And I thought that is like, wow, that is a lot of satire and a reflection of a lot of views that I have right now, especially when it comes to organized religions. So I was like, I'm not crazy for thinking I'm the only one. There's a lot of loopholes that some people take advantage of. And it's dim sum religion. You know, you go and pick and choose the pieces that you want and everything else you just disregard. That type of thing, it just shined a light on everybody. And it was just an amazing thing to see that using modern culture. And I have to throw a third one in. I have to say, oh, what is it? Terry Pratchett.
Good Omens.
Good Omens.
Crowley. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you get to that one then. But yeah, we are there. Probably have the same, you know, likes and dislikes for it. So I'm not, because I talk a lot.
JD?
Well, I already mentioned Lucifer, and then Gini covered that, and that's definitely, I think,
Sorry.
a great one. No, it's a great one. I just finished a series by an author named Annie Anderson called Rogue Ethereal, the Rogue Ethereal series. I do not know her, so just to be clear, I just read it. I read like all 6 books back to back. I binged it. And she does a really interesting thing with demons and the concept of hell and demons who are pretty powerful, but very complex individuals. They're not bad. They're not good. They're just sort of like humans, you know, amped up with power, who have a job to do. And it was fascinating, and I really enjoyed it. And she made all of these ethereal characters very complex. So, you know, it had a good amount of romance in it. It had a good amount of fantasy in it. So that was one that I recently enjoyed, and that I had, you know, I didn't expect. I sort of just picked it up.
Okay, now somebody was going to talk about Good Omens.
I'll talk about Good Omens. I love that one. I love the fact that when he walks, it's like, you know, it's just like sex on 2 legs. He doesn't have to say a line. It's just the way he moves. You're like, that is how a demon should move. I love the fact that he's supposed to be, you know, so terrible. And there's part of him that really is, but at the same time, he's very human, right? He's decided he likes Earth. He doesn't want to see this gone, you know, and he in a lot of ways, he does a lot. He has, you know, he has his angel friend who he just he keeps intervening for over and over again, and he intervenes for humanity over and over again. So all these things where he's supposed to be so terrible, and he is in some ways, in other ways he's just such, he's come to really, with all of the faults that human beings have, he's come to really love humanity. And so what a cool demon to have, right? Because on the one hand, and of course, having to sort of lie to your bosses who are much more the stereotypical, they don't have a conscience, but he's kind of developed one over time, right? And that's a problem for a demon to have this conscience, and to have a friendship, right? And especially with an angel. So yeah, I think he's a great character.
I think the best line in the book is where Crowley says to Aziraphale, what if I did the right thing by giving them the apple and you did the wrong thing by giving them the flaming sword? Wouldn't that be kind of funny? And Aziraphale's like, it wouldn't be funny at all. But that's clearly that's the baseline that you can tell that Pratchett and Gaiman are going for with that, is that, yes, knowledge was not the bad thing. The flaming sword is our problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that book.
Rachel.
So yes, I'm also on the Good Omens bandwagon here. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about it, and Meghan kind of touched on it, is the fact that he is a demon and he's this agent of chaos, and demons are supposed to be agents of chaos. And yet they have hardened into a hierarchy that rivals the angels for its moribund ways. And so it's, to me, that was a fun aspect reading that book. And the other Crowley, of course, supernatural Crowley, is a bit of the same way. He does what he wants. He sees what he wants. He's a fun character, even though he's a complete sociopath throughout the entire thing. But again, he's that agent of chaos. And I feel like sometimes we all do need a little bit of vicarious chaos in our lives. And so those characters and those types of characters, those are kind of my favorite.
Well, I second you definitely on supernatural. And of course, there are so many demons over the 15 years there. Crowley is, of course, one of the biggest frenemies that they have. Sometimes he helps them, sometimes he tries to kill them. But I loved his ingenuity when he took over as king of hell. He got rid of torture and he just has everybody stand in unending lines. They take a number, they stand in line. What happens when you get to the beginning of the line? You go back to the end for eternity. That's true evil. And you've got characters like Meg, who starts out really vicious and ends up in love with an angel. And so I loved how they turned a lot of the expectations on their heads. Of the angels were really bad corporate guys, and the demons could be reasoned with. And so I enjoyed that, as well as the variety of demons we got. And then the other one, we've been watching a lot of paranormal K-dramas, Korean dramas. And we finished The Uncanny Counter, which is Grim Reapers show up a lot in Korean drama. But they also are fighting demons. And because it's not coming from the traditional Western European Judeo-Christian kind of lore, they've got some really interesting takes on demons and the afterlife and how all this stuff works. And so it's been fascinating to watch someone else's take on something that is normally very familiar and predictable, and going, ooh, now that was interesting. So that's been our recent guilty pleasures, just binging through a lot of those. Which leads me to the next question, which is, what's probably the most unique thing or attribute that you've brought to your demons? JD?
Well, I can't say a terrible amount because obviously this book isn't released yet, and I'm not even sure exactly what date, but it is written. So there's that. Just so people know, writing a book and publishing a book are two entirely different things. Yeah, so one of the things that I try to do with the main demon in this book is that there's a lot of things that he does that are, really truly evil, but he's really a manipulator. Like, really, this is all about making deals with the devil, sort of. And my main character is trying to stop the worst from happening with those deals, but she says repeatedly, I can't help it if people make bad deals. So there's a lot going on, and when we first meet her, something very bad has happened already with a demon, and she's a little ticked off about it. So but you don't know what that bad thing is. You just know that it's already happened, and we're starting off with, like, she's like, I'm done, I'm out, but of course you can never get out. You're always pulled back in. So yeah, it's all about manipulation and sort of making those deals, and my main character trying to make sure that the deals don't go too far south, like just hemming them in.
Cool. Megan?
I don't know, because I write, like I said, this is a year of the demon for me. So I've written so many demons this year, and they're all so different. I like the cinnamon roll demon because I think that that's something that you don't normally associate with demons. You associate maybe lust or sex or violence. And so I liked creating a character who was really the antithesis of this. I mean, he really does. He's more, he's like a cherub almost, but in a demon's body. He wants the best for everybody, and he's so sweet. And that was a really interesting one to write because it was really unexpected, I think. But I also have ones where it's more like JD's, where I have one who's, again, he doesn't look very fierce, but he'd make a contract lawyer cry. Like, his deals are, you better be real careful with what you say with him. And he has no remorse for the people who he makes deals with, because as a general rule, he makes deals with bad people. And that story then is really about when a good person comes to him. No, good people don't ever come to him for deals, and how he has to deal with it, because you get 3 strikes and you're out, and your soul is his. And so him having to negotiate that with somebody who he didn't actually want to do that to, I thought was really fun to play with, because he could only give so much because his nature is defined, so yeah, I guess those 2 would be the most, maybe.
Okay. Rachel?
So I wrote a short story that ended up in the Devil's Due anthology from Valhalla Books. And the theme of it was the devil's due, so deals with the devil. And for me, I was like, okay, well, crossroads demons, deals with the devil. What if you had a situation where someone said, well, that's not my name on the line, right? I'm a victim of identity theft, which is the name of the story. And so the demon in that basically approached the deals. It's told from the point of view of Hell's private investigator, which is his victim, as just, hey, wouldn't it be nice if, you didn't have to worry about the rent? Or, hey, wouldn't it be nice? I think it's a pair of hockey tickets. I'll tell you what, I'll switch you these tickets if you just tell your next client, your next private investigating client, you can't help them. And of course, have to have a story. So of course the protagonist does that. And so it is more of it's less of the traditional, I'll give you this if you give this to me, and more of I will manipulate you until I have you where I want you. And then there's nothing that you can really do about it, because how do you get out of a deal that you never really agreed to? So like I said, I really enjoy playing around with evil demons.
Nice. Jenny?
Well, I write a lot of different kinds of them in both short stories and in my novels. And one of the things that I think that I just like to do, they all have free will. They're not just like humans. They're not, just because you're born bad doesn't mean you have to stay bad. Just because you're born good doesn't mean you have to stay good. So pretty much in anything, they have free will. They can change. They can choose to work for the side of good. Good can choose to work for the side of bad. And I prefer that. They're not necessarily fighting their nature. If they're doing that, it's more they're learning, they're progressing, they're growing. Or it's not the setup that you think it is, kind of thing. I have a short story in my The Disciple and Other Stories of the Paranormal collection by Gemma Chase, Hotter Than Hell, where basically the devil's daughter has come up. You know, she's trying to make it on her own, and she's freezing on Earth. She's so cold, and she keeps trying to find some place that's hotter than hell. And of course, there isn't someplace, but my POV character figures out how to help her. And you know, the devil's not bad. He's just doing a job, very much like Lucifer. He's not doing a job. He's doing a job. He's not evil. He's punishing the people that are bad, and it's not somebody has to do it. So in many cases, I just like to do, they're regular Joes. They're just regular Joes from a different plane of existence. So that I like doing that. Whether that's groundbreaking or not, I can't say, but that's pretty much how I do it. Unless it's Lovecraftian, and then they just really enjoy eating humans and wreaking havoc.
The other
Those are
white
so
meat.
fun to write.
Yeah.
Yes, they're just so fun to write because you can like kill them all in horrible ways, and the monster can win. So,
Stephanie?
Wow. I think I have to go back to one book in the series that I've written because I tried to throw some unique characteristics in there. And the first one is a series through Changeling called Sympathy for the Devil. What it is these devils didn't want to fade because as soon as people stop believing in them, there's no power to them. So I have a bunch of devils from different cultures and they're all together. And what's one surefire way to guarantee that you get worship? They became rock stars. So really the world's best rock band, and they're getting all this worship for everything that they do. They're guitar gods and drum gods and voice gods, and they're living it up because they weren't intelligent enough to find a loophole. The issue starts rolling in when they start finding human paramours, and they also are as diverse as you would believe, as you could think, because we go through everywhere from a really awesome trans guy to like the really quiet, stilted, I don't want to be here, very non-confrontational woman who is trapped on an island after a plane crash with a bunch of demons. So when wishes start being spoken out loud, like someone said, I wish I had fried chicken right now, that would be really great. And then like their little camp they put together was invaded by chickens. And they're like, well, somebody better catch one and fry one. So it's all these little things that you can throw in there to not only react as a tension breaker, because a lot of people are tense about reading anything that's demonic according to how they were raised and their religious beliefs. So having a little tension in there and having that tension be broken by something human that they can relate to or that they wish for pulls them back into the story and kind of glosses over what might be irritating them or bothering them about what they're reading. And my second one, it just released a few months ago. Yeah, it's called Demonium Rex, aka Buttercup. And I feel so sorry for Demonium. He is the king of all the incubi. Incubi, succubi, whatever, they change their form to match their victims, what they call, that's a tough nut to crack. So they're nuts. Whatever their nuts desires, they become. And as soon as they're acknowledged, they start building a form and getting a body so they can hop in there and have that dream sex. Only problem is that the nut that nobody can actually crack and have to call the king in is actually a writer. And not only is she a writer, she writes romance and erotica. So when she starts to have this erotic dream, she goes, oh, she wakes up and goes, I need to write that down. That was awesome. That's gonna go somewhere in the book. Or when she's plug tired and can't think and is stumbling to the bathroom and she sees something forming out of the shadow, she goes, no, you're the next character in my book and you have to get in the line. There's a cue back there, buddy. Move it. So there's a little bit of acknowledgement in there until he irritates her to the point where she names him Buttercup. And the name sticks. So the rest of the story, it's hysterical because now you have an incubus trying to get a human to actually believe in them, ruining her dates and all kinds of nice little evil things that he puts in there that's going to help bring her to him because, they have a quota they have to keep up with and she's just taking up everything. But what do you do when you discover that she has like an interesting heritage herself? So it was just so much fun to take the idea of free will and the idea of you have to imbue something with belief or know its name and have power over it. What happens when that's flipped around? And then the human who really doesn't believe in you, who thinks you're a figment of her imagination, actually has control of you. So I thought that was really funny to put it in a really interesting way to put a human in that area, and especially being a writer, because, you know, a disaster happens, we're going to be whipping out our cell phones and taking notes on it. You run into somebody who's a mortician in an elevator, you're going to ask them, how long would it take, you know, for a body to decompose? This is the way we are. Where they say, we're built different. Oh, authors, we're built different. And it was kind of fun to toss that into the story. Gave it a little bit of humor and a lot of relatability in my mind. So anytime you can throw in something that's going to throw the reader off and make them laugh at the end of it, I'm all there for it.
Very cool. I have demons who so far have tended to be the bad guys, but I also have daemons, Daemons, that are not the hellspawn kind of demon. They are more of the classical Greek side of spirit of a place, genius loci, a sentient spirit. And they can be good or bad or just kind of there. And they play a major role in the Wasteland Marshals series. They have shown up in the Spell, Salt, and Steel series. They are showing up in some of the other series as well, because that's a fun concept. While it isn't necessarily, you know, hell related, they can be twisted and malicious based on, you know, there are always legends about places that are just bad. And as long as there have been people around, they've said, avoid that place. It's just bad luck. Well, why? Well, it's got a twisted daemon. And then sometimes you have daemons that are helpful. And then you've got others who are like, go away, I want to go back to sleep. So that's been kind of fun in working with an immortal, sentient spirit that operates under completely different guidelines, because we're just so new. They haven't bothered paying enough attention to understand us. They've been around since forever. And so their concept of how they don't even really have necessarily good and evil, but that's been fun to have them interact, and kind of a different twist on not exactly a demon, but a daemon. Well, believe it or not, we have blown through our time as always. So I'd love to go around, have everybody say what your newest, upcoming, latest, greatest book is and where people can find you online. Meghan?
So you can find me on pretty much all social media. It's always under Meghan Maslow. I'm on Facebook the most, but you know, Twitter. The only thing I don't do is TikTok, because that's a drug I don't want to get into. Because I know that's going down the demon hole. So no, but you know, pretty much anywhere else, Insta, all of that, MeghanMaslow.com. And I just published a book called The Demons in the Details. Again, I talked about it a little today. And my next book is called Fairy and Impartial. And it also has a demon. And he is being accused of a murder because it was clear that a Red Fury has killed somebody. And he is the only Red Fury in this realm. So things are not looking good for him. And his friends must, once again, come to his aid. And that is the fourth book in my Starfig Investigation series.
Nice. JD?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook and Twitter at JD Blackrose. My blog site, though, and my e-newsletter are under slipperywords.com. So Slippery Words, and you should check it out. My e-newsletter often features some fun things like interviews with authors or excerpts from upcoming books from big authors. So it's fun to do and it's fun to read. I should point out that The Devil's Been Busy, which is over my shoulder here, has nothing to do with devils. So since we were talking about demons, it's a traveling Wilbury song, and all four novellas are entitled, or their titles are Traveling Wilbury songs. And if you don't know who the Traveling Wilburys are, you're young and you should look them up. So, but my new my next thing that's actually coming out will be the third novella in the Zombie Cosmetologist series. And you can see Pluck and Cover and Hide and Chic over here. The third one, called Cut and Dyed, will be out in September. So that's really taken the whole, thanks Rich, that's taking the whole zombie idea and really turning it on its head, because Waylon Jenkins is a zombie and a cosmetologist to the stars in Calabasas, California and Los Angeles. And he's really a lover, not a fighter. So, but he does tend to lose parts. So look for Cut and Dyed.
Nice. Stephanie?
Hey, you can find me at authorstephanieburke.online. All my social media links are there, and I'm going to try to dive into the demon TikTok because my daughter says I have to. And she's a millennial, so she would know. So the latest book that I've done that's demonic would be, there's so many demons floating around there. But no, that would be Demonium Rex, aka Buttercup, and you can find that one at changelingpress.com. All of my demonic books, they're listed by category on my website, so you can find them all there, and all the reads that I do. You can also find the free reads that I do and the magazine articles. They're all listed right there. So yay, come find me. We're fun.
Nice. Jenny?
I'm at ginnykoch.com. I'm on Facebook, probably more than I should be, on Twitter and on Pinterest. I will not be on TikTok because I could do TikTok or I can write books. So I've had to make that choice. The most recent release is I have a story in the Derelict anthology from Zombie Needs Brains, and I'll have a story in the upcoming Gunfight on Europa Station anthology from Baen Books. And I have then in February, the Reinvented Heart anthology will be out, as will a few other things. And yes, Aliens Like Us is coming, I swear to you. I just don't know when yet.
Okay.
So that's what I've got.
Rachel?
I am on Twitter and Facebook at Rachel A. Brune. I'm also on Instagram, but it's mostly pictures of my dogs and the things that I knit and bake. So, I mean, come on down. I do have a website, Infamous Scribbler, infamous-scribbler.com. And that's pretty much where I am. I do have a newsletter. If you sign up for the newsletter, I will send you a copy of Night Run, which is a reader magnet for my Werewolf Secret Agent series, which will come out next year from Falstaff. And the latest and greatest is my dark fiction collection, Side Roads, which has quite a collection of beasties, monsters, demons, all kinds of good things in there, or evil things, as the case may be. And then if anybody's interested in not only reading some great literary punk homages to myth, but also supporting a no-kill animal shelter in the Pacific Northwest, my story, H-Bomb Over Paris, which is an atom punk take on Helen of Troy, is in Taught by Time, Myth Ghost Punk from Writer Punk Press, and that just came out last month. So yeah, hop on over, check it out.
Fun. My latest for Morgan Brice is Gruff, which is a male shifter romance retelling loosely of the Three Billy Goats Gruff with goat shifters in love and Krampus, Perctus, and Baphomet. So Faye, as one does. The next coming up is Blink, which is also Morgan Brice. It is the second in the Treasure Trail series set in Cape May, New Jersey. And that's got mafia ghosts and mafia and mobsters and disappearing hotels. And then Legacy is the next Deadly Curiosities. And that one has a Dakhaibi in it, which is a Korean goblin that has a weakness for gin. So that will be fun. And you can find me online and on social media under Gail Z. Martin and Morgan Brice, but mostly you can find me here on ConTinual. So thank you, all of you, for a wonderful time talking about demons. And thank all of you for watching and listening. There'll be more writing and probably demons here on ConTinual. So we'll see you online.